Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Paradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharidhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nittai Gaur Haribo, Nittai Gaur Haribo. Jai Jai Prabhupada, Jai Jai Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande Haribo. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Vaskakati Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Nasta Praeshu Vabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. We're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter number 6, entitled Brahma Satisfies Lord Shiva. Text number 40, right? Yeah. You want to read the verse for me? Make it easier for me. Struggling here to see it. Tatu talabda and atmanyuni. Tatu talabda atmanyuni. Utaya Chakre Vishnu Satu Palabdya Atmayoni Sura Turishira Bitam Vihami Utaya Chakre Vishnu Tu Atmayonim Read the word meaning.
Lord Shiva's lotus feet were worshipped by both the demigods and demons. But still, in spite of his exalted position, as soon as he saw that Lord Brahma was based among all the other demigods, he immediately stood up and offered him respect by bowing down and touching his lotus feet, just as Vamanadeva offered his respectful obeisances to Kashyapa Muni. Purport. Kashyapa Muni was in the category of the living entities, but he had a transcendental son, Vamanadeva, who was an incarnation of Vishnu. Thus, although Lord Vishnu is the supreme personality of Godhead, he offered his respects to Kashyapa Muni. Similarly, when Lord Krishna was a child, he used to offer his respectful obeisances to his mother and father, Nanda and Yashoda. Also, at the battle of Kurukshetra, Lord Krishna touched the feet of Maharaj Yudhishthira because the king was his elder. It appears then that the personality of Godhead, Lord Shiva, and other devotees, in spite of their being situated in exalted positions, instructed by practical example how to offer respects, how to offer obeisances to their superiors. Lord Shiva offered his respectful obeisances to Brahma because Brahma was his father, just as Kashyapa Muni was the father of Vamana.
Omagyanatimarandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chaksaranmilitanena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Sarasati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Nama Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're hearing no, it's not important. This we're hearing about this Vaishnava etiquette, offering respects to the seniors. Here in this particular case, it's described how Lord Shiva is worshipped by both the demigods and the demons. But then when Lord Brahma came, then Lord Shiva immediately stood up and offered him respects. Now Lord Shiva is on a level higher than actually Lord Brahma, because Lord Brahma is Jiva, and Lord Shiva is almost God. Not exactly God, but almost God. We learn actually from the Brahma Samhita, the position of Lord Shiva, that he is compared to yogurt, whereas Vishnu is compared to milk. So milk can be made into yogurt, but yogurt never becomes milk. So this shows us that Lord Vishnu can become Shiva, but Lord Shiva never becomes Lord Vishnu. Lord Shiva, therefore, is on a higher level than Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma is Jiva Tattva. Lord Shiva is like Shakti Tattva. And of course, Lord Vishnu Tattva. So Sri Ramyatada Dibikara Misheshu in Brahma Samhita is described like this, that the Lord Vishnu is compared to the yogurt, and the yogurt with the touch of the acids, then rather the milk in touch with the acid will be transformed to yogurt. But you can never make yogurt into milk. Once you have the yogurt, you can't make that into milk. And the same is true, that from Lord Shiva, you can't turn Lord Shiva to Lord Vishnu, but Lord Vishnu can become Lord Shiva. Now we may question, well, why then does Lord Shiva stand up to worship Lord Brahma? Knowing that Lord Brahma is a Jiva Tattva and he is above that. But so the answer is that because Lord Brahma is like the father of Lord Shiva. Lord Brahma is the first living entity in the universe. And Lord Shiva took his birth from Lord Brahma. First of all, Brahma gave birth to the 4 Kumaras. And Lord Brahma wanted the 4 Kumaras that they should help him to procreate the universe, fill up the universe with population. But the 4 Kumaras abstained. They said, no, we just want to devote ourselves to self-realization. We're not interested in helping you to populate the universe. We don't want to get involved in that activity. We're just thinking about transcending this material world. And you want us to engage in this world, in the affairs of this world by producing progeny. So Lord Brahma was not pleased, but what can he do? It's a request. It's a request for a higher purpose. So although he was not pleased, he could not stop them from doing it. But he felt some anger, and from that anger came out Lord Shiva. From the forehead of Brahma, Lord Shiva appeared. So Lord Shiva is like one of the sons of Brahma. Therefore, Lord Shiva respects Lord Brahma. And he stood up and honored him. We see also this, when this etiquette is not properly followed, then it can create problems. Bhrigu Muni, for example, he was given the task to ascertain who is superior, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So Bhrigu Muni was dispatched to Jai. So Bhrigu Muni was sent around the universe to find out who is supreme between Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So Bhrigu Muni is also one of the sons of Brahma. Brahma has many sons. Narada, for example, is also one of the sons of Brahma. And Bhrigu Muni first went to see Lord Brahma. And unlike Lord Shiva, we're hearing here how Lord Shiva respected Lord Brahma, although Lord Shiva was being worshipped by both demigods and demons. When Lord Brahma came, Lord Shiva respected Lord Brahma. Now Bhrigu Muni came to see Lord Brahma, and he didn't offer any respect to Lord Brahma. Purposely, He didn't offer any respect to Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma was not pleased, but he didn't do anything. But Bhrigu Muni could tell that his father was not pleased with him. I mean, you can tell when someone's pleased, right? Just from their face. You know, the face is the index of the mind, they say. So just from the face of Lord Brahma, Bhrigu Muni could understand that he had not pleased his father. So Brahma, however, controlled his anger. He didn't take any action against Bhrigu. So then Bhrigu went to see Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva is like a brother because they're both sons of Brahma. So when Lord Shiva saw Bhrigu Muni coming to him, Lord Shiva was going to embrace Bhrigu Muni. And Bhrigu Muni, however, said, no, don't come near me. You've got all these snakes on your body, and your body's all covered in ashes. Don't come near, don't you touch me. And Lord Shiva got very angry. He got so angry, he was going to kill Bhrigu Muni. And it was only when Mother Parvati appeared and embraced her husband and turned to Bhrigu and said, you better get out of here quick and save your life. And so Bhrigu Muni understood, that Lord Shiva got pretty angry, very angry with him because he spoke nastily to him. So then Bhrigu Muni went to see Lord Vishnu. And when he went to see Lord Vishnu was laying down on his celestial bed, which is Anantasesha. And Mother Lakshmi was massaging his lotus feet. And Bhrigu Muni comes there and he kicks Vishnu on the chest. And what does Vishnu do? Vishnu gets up and says, oh, my dear Bhrigu Muni, I hope you did not hurt your feet on my hard chest. So this is the greatness of Lord Vishnu, that he didn't take any offense against Bhrigu Muni. Lord Vishnu didn't take any offense, but Lakshmi, however, she did. She was not pleased to see Bhrigu Muni do this to her husband. And it said from that time on, the Brahmanas never get the blessings of Lakshmi. Brahmanas are always poor because Lakshmi thinks, I'm not going to give these people any blessings. They didn't respect my husband. So we see how the Lord reciprocates with the devotee, that although Bhrigu Muni was so offensive to him, Lord Vishnu didn't take any offense because he is in the mode of goodness. Lord Brahma is more, he's Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, they're the guna avatars. So Lord Vishnu, of course, he's transcendental, he's pure goodness. Lord Brahma, he is in charge of the mode of passion. And Lord Shiva, he's in charge of the mode of ignorance. Not that they're in that mode, but they are influenced by those modes. They're influenced because they associate with people who are in these different modes. And when you associate with people who are in these different modes, then it does have an effect on us. And that is why Rupa Goswami in his Upadeshamrita stresses so much the importance of giving up the association of non-devotees and associating with devotees. Because if you associate with non-devotees, we will take on the habits of non-devotees. If we associate with people who are drunkards and meat eaters and gamblers and so on, then we will also take an interest in these things. So devotees very careful not to associate with the non-devotees. We give up the association of non-devotees and we associate with devotees. Then associating with devotees, we can reflect the qualities of the devotees. We can take on the qualities of the people who we're associating with. So Lord Shiva, as we say, Vaishnavam Yata Shambhu, he is the topmost Vaishnava. He's a great devotee. And he's showing us how to respect Lord Brahma, how to respect seniors. Even although Lord Brahma may not be so senior, but in the sense that Lord Shiva took his birth through Lord Brahma, so Lord Shiva is respecting him, just like a child should respect their parents, or a disciple should respect their spiritual master, that they will offer respects, they will offer honor, they will speak words of appreciation. So Lord Shiva is showing us what is the Vaishnava etiquette. He's teaching us by his example. It's important that the example has to be there. Prabhupada says, example speaks louder than instruction. Just to give instructions to people, that is not as good as actually seeing the example. So Lord Shiva, because he's such a great Vaishnava, he's showing us his example, respecting Lord Brahma. Now, Lord Shiva, of course, he can also get angry very easily because he's Guna avatar and he's in charge of the mode of ignorance. So sometimes it does have an effect on him. And we know sometimes he's worshipped, sometimes he's not treated properly by people, and he can get quite angry with them. Lord Shiva, however, is very active in all phases of the creation. Sometimes people think Lord Shiva is only involved at the end of the creation with the destruction, but actually Lord Shiva is active in all phases of the creation of the universe. In the beginning of the creation, it is Lord Shiva who carries the glands of the living entities which impregnate into the material universe at the beginning of the creation. Lord Shiva carries all the glance of Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu glances over the material nature, and Lord Shiva carries that glance and impregnates the living entities into the universe. And Lord Shiva also helps in maintenance, that sometimes there's a demon, sometimes there's some demon who's giving trouble in the universe, and Lord Shiva will be asked to deal with this demon, to remove him. And we see, however, sometimes these demons like Ravan, they worship Lord Shiva to get the blessings of Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva can give blessings. He gives blessings to people like Ravan, but he doesn't give his greatest mercy. You have to understand that Lord Shiva has two sides to him. He can give his cheating potency, and he can give his real blessings, his real mercy. Materialistic people like Ravana and so on, they will worship Lord Shiva to get material blessings. And from the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna has described the worship of the Devas that antavattu phalam tesham tad bhavati aupa medasham. That people of small intelligence, aupa medasa, people whose intelligence is meager or very small, they will worship the Devas to get things which are antavat to phalam tesham. The fruit of their worship is limited and temporary. So people approach Lord Shiva in this way with their material desires. They want wealth, they want fame, they want success in their material endeavors. They may come to Lord Shiva and worship Lord Lord Shiva can give them, he gives them. But that's not his greatest mercy. Lord Shiva, real mercy is when he gives devotion for the Supreme Lord. And Lord Shiva has his own disciplic succession, the Sampradaya, coming from Lord Shiva. And the Acharya in that line, Vishnu Swami, he was a prominent Acharya. And this is the real mercy of Lord Shiva, that he is giving devotion which comes through the parampara, through a Vaishnava philosophy. We've seen here in the Daksha Yagya, there was a conflict between the followers of Lord Shiva and the followers of Daksha. There was a big fight, right? And they were cursing each other. And the followers of Daksha, they cursed the followers of Lord Shiva, that they would all become atheists. And the followers of Lord Shiva, they cursed the followers of Daksha, that they would all become practitioners of dull rituals. The followers of Daksha, like headed by Shukracharya, Brihaspati, all the Brahmanas and so on, that their worship is all dull rituals. And the followers of Lord Shiva, they're generally atheists. And Prabhupada said both curses are in effect today. We see most people who follow Lord Shiva, they think there's no God. I was doing book distribution one time over in Europe, and I approached a young man with a book, and he said to me, he said, "Oh, Krishna." He said, "I know Krishna is not God. He has a mother and father." But then he said to me, "You know who God is? Shiva is God." And then he said, "Shiva is light." So this was his understanding. He was following some other kind of spiritual, pseudo-spiritual group, you know, and they taught him like this: God is light, Shiva is light, and their meditation is on the light, you know, they just go and meditate on the light. They never read the Ishopanishads, right? In the Ishopanishad, it says, Haranma yena patrena satyasyapi tammukam tadvam pushana parvanu satya dharmaya drishtati. It said, Ishopanishad said, it's a prayer to the Lord. Kindly remove that dazzling effulgence, that haranmayena patrina. Kindly remove that dazzling effulgence and exhibit your form to your devotee. So the devotees, we don't want to be attracted by the light. We want to go through the light to see the real form of the Lord. One time the devotees were all sitting chanting japa. And one young lady said to Prabhupada, she said, "Oh, Swamiji, when I'm chanting, I'm seeing a bright light." Prabhupada said, "Keep chanting, it will go away." So, you know, we don't want to be too much absorbed or enamored by these things. The bright light may be simply the Brahmajyoti. The Brahmajyoti is the effulgence which comes from the Supreme Lord. So we have to go through that Brahman to come to the Supreme Lord. Don't be attached to the light. So I was saying, followers of Lord Shiva, generally they're atheistic. They just want to get material blessings. One man was arguing with Srila Prabhupada, and he was saying, "Well, couldn't one have bhakti for Lord Shiva?" Prabhupada said, "Yeah, you have bhakti, but why do you have bhakti? Because you want to get something from him. Your bhakti is mixed with your own material desire. Now, as devotees, we also respect Lord Shiva. And you can read how in 10th canto on Shivratri, Nanda Maharaj and other residents of Vrindavan, they'd gone to worship Lord Shiva. And Prabhupada explains there, he said, sometimes Vaishnavas may observe Shivratri. Not every time. It's not necessary that every year we have to observe Shivratri, but sometimes they may do it. We honor him because he's a great Vaishnava. And so Nanda Maharaj also describes that he'd gone to worship Lord Shiva. They'd gone there to this temple of Sadashiva, actually. And they went there, they were worshipping Lord Shiva. And there was a pastime that time, Nanda Maharaj was swallowed by a big serpent, and Lord Krishna came and saved him. So the worship of Lord Shiva is allowed. Sanatana Goswami, one of our 6 Goswamis, Sanatana Goswami, the elder brother of Srila Rupa Goswami. Sanatana Goswami was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, and he also worshipped Lord Shiva. But why worship Lord Shiva? To get devotion. To get devotion for Lord Krishna. All right? Lord Shiva told his wife, Parvati, Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnor Aradhanam Param. That of all kinds of worship, the worship of Lord Vishnu is supreme. But then he went on to say, Tasmat Tarataram Devi Tadiyanam Samacharam. That even greater than the worship of Vishnu is the worship of those things in relation to Vishnu. Right? It seems almost contradictory. He's saying that, first of all, worship of Vishnu is supreme. But then he said, even greater than the worship of Vishnu is to worship those things in relation to Vishnu. Therefore, you can worship Lord Shiva in that manner, in relationship to Lord Vishnu. We worship also Tulsi Maharani. How, in what mode do we worship Tulsi? We're worshiping Tulsi. I beg you to make me a follower of the cowherd damsels of Braja. Please give me the privilege of devotional service. Make me your own maidservant. This very fallen and lowly servant prays, may we always swim in love for Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. So you can see the mood in worshipping Tulsi like that. In the same way, we can also worship Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is also the master of false ego. And if we have a strong false ego, we can also worship Lord Shiva to purify us, help us to control and take away this false ego. So that's something very valuable for us. You know, we all have that problem in the material world, the ahankar, right? The ahankar. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna describes that the bewildered spirit soul thinks himself to be the doer of activities which are carried out by the modes of nature. So the ahankar, by the influence of ahankar, we are thinking we are the doer. But we learn, actually, we're not actually the doer. We're simply instruments under the control of the material energy. We want to ever take shelter of Lord Krishna and not to be controlled by the material energy, but to be under the control of the spiritual energy. Mahatmanas tumam parta daivim prakriti mashrita. Bhajanti ananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. Lord Krishna describes the devotees, the Mahatmas. They are under the protection of the divine energy. So either we're under the modes of nature or we're under the divine energy. Both ways we are controlled. We are not really independent. We're not free to do what we want. But we do have some independence, little bit independence. Our independence is to choose Krishna or Maya, the material world or the spiritual world. Which way do we want to go? We have to decide where we want to be, who we want to be with. In this material realm, we're dreaming, I am the controller. I am the master. Lord Krishna describes the demonic mentality. Ishwaraham aham bhogi siddhoham balavam sukhi. We're thinking, I am the controller. I am the enjoyer. I am powerful. I am strong. And I am happy. So this is the material illusion. The demonic mentality causes us to think like that. We want to cultivate the divine mentality, the godly mentality. We have to get rid of that ahankar, that false ego, which bewilders us. So with the help of personalities such as Lord Shiva, we can remove that ahankar. Lord Shiva shows us, I was talking about his example, nice example here in respecting Lord Brahma. And we see also how he takes the water which washes the feet of Lord Vamanadev in the form of the Ganga. He takes that water on his head. When Lord Vamanadev took 3 steps of land, he pierced the covering of the universe. And from that hole which he made in the covering of the universe, the water from the causal ocean came in. And that water is flowing today as Mother Ganga. So that water of Mother Ganga came down from the upper planets in the universe, came from the top of Mount Meru, flows down, and it flows down onto the head of Lord Shiva. Of course, this was at the request of Maharaj Bhagirath. Maharaj Bhagirath was doing great tapasya to bring Mother Ganga down to earth, but Mother Ganga was reluctant to come. One of the reasons why she was reluctant to come to earth, she said, if I fall on the earth, the impact of my water may be so great, it may knock the earth out of its orbit in the universe. So she said, this may be a problem. But it was Maharaj Bhagirath got the consent of Lord Shiva that he would take the water of the Ganges on his head, and in this way restrain the momentum, that force, that impact of Mother Ganga's water coming onto the planet. Instead of it coming onto Mother Earth, it came onto the head of Lord Shiva, and it flows down through the hair of Lord Shiva, it flows down through the Himalayas, like that. So this is the compassion of Lord Shiva, very, very compassionate, very kind on everyone. Another example of Lord Shiva's compassion is that he drank the poison from the milk ocean. When the demigods and the demons were churning the milk ocean to get the nectar of immortality, at one point they produced poison. Before they got the nectar, they got the poison. So they asked what to do with this poison. So it was arranged that Lord Shiva, he would drink that poison. Lord Shiva is so compassionate that out of compassion for all the demigods and the demons and all living entities, Lord Shiva took that poison from the milk ocean, drank it all. And that's why he's known as Nilakant. He has the blue throat from drinking the poison. His throat became blue. And because he drank the poison, his body became very hot. And that's why he was given that crescent, moon crescent on his head, which he wears. That is to cool his body from the heat of all the poison which he drank when he drank away the poison. So just understand the compassionate nature of Lord Shiva and also how enlightened he is. It is Lord Shiva who tells Mother Parvati, no need to chant Vishnu Sahasranam. Just chant the holy name of Lord Rama. Mother Parvati was going to chant Vishnu Sahasranam, but Lord Shiva said, you don't need to chant all that. Just chant the holy name of Lord Rama. Rame Rame Namo Rame Sahasranama Bistuyam Sri Rama Nama Viranini. Right? Lord Shiva tells Parvati, one name of Lord Ram is equal to 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. So Lord Shiva knows fully the glories of the Supreme Lord. He's teaching Mother Parvati and all of us. He's teaching us not only the glories of the Lord, he's teaching us also how we should have proper respect for others. Now, sometimes it becomes puzzling, you know, we don't, material world, we don't show so much respect to others. And here we have, you know, people nowadays in the Vedic culture, or also here in ISKCON, we have sannyasis. And there's a standard that you're supposed to respect sannyasis. It said, if you don't offer obeisances in the morning to a sannyasi, you have to fast that day. Prabhupada says this in the book, you know. He said, if you don't offer the respect one time, you just offer one time. Guru, we should offer respect every time. Every time you see the Guru, should offer respect. Sannyasi, just offer respect one time. But if you don't offer respect one time, he said that you should atone for that by fasting. So one time there was a young man, and he got sannyas from Prabhupada, and they gave him the danda and everything. And so after he got his sannyas, he went off. But a short time later, he came back, and he came back to see Srila Prabhupada. And he said, Srila Prabhupada, I don't like this. He said, wherever I go, people are bowing down to me. They're all respecting me. And Prabhupada said to him, he said, oh, they're not respecting you. They're respecting what you represent. So that's an important point to remember, that when we offer our obeisances to sannyasis and so on, it's not that we're just respecting that person, but it's respect for what they represent, right? So that's something which we have to understand. Just like when we worship our spiritual teacher, it's what they represent as well, you know, that they're representing the purity and the complete devotion and surrender to the Supreme Lord. Therefore, we're worshiping them. Not that we're just worshiping the body, but what they represent. It's very important for us to understand. Okay, so Lord, here we've got the example also, just like it's mentioned about Kashyapa, right? How Kashyapa is Lord Vamana Dev is the Supreme Lord. He's an avatar anyway of Lord Vishnu, and he's respecting Kashyapa because Lord Vamana Dev appears as the son of Kashyapa and Aditi. And so Lord Vamana Dev also is showing us this example of respecting superior. Now, who is our superior? That is an interesting thing. Who actually should be given respect? Now, for different ways, different people are superior. Someone may be senior in age, just like you could say Kashyapa and also Lord Brahma, they were senior in age. So we respect somebody senior in age. Someone else is senior in initiation. Someone else may be senior in realization. Someone else may be senior in responsibility. In different ways, different people are senior. So a devotee we always want to try keep a humble mood. And Lord Chaitanya teaches us to offer all respect to others. Amanena manadena, right? We want to chant the holy name constantly. What's required? We have to have that mood of offering all respect to others. And the more we have that mood to respect others, the more we will be qualified to chant the holy name. And that is, of course, that verse of Shikshastikam is very important for us as devotees. Krishna Das Kaviraj says, take that verse and thread it on a string and wear it around your neck for constant remembrance. So remembering Trinadapi Sunich Ena Tarorapi Sahishnuna Amanena Manadena Kirtaniya Sadar. Not just only remembering, but actually applying and showing this mood, being tolerant like a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige. Our ego should be in proportion to our spiritual dimension, right? What is our spiritual dimension? Right, 110, right. That is our spiritual dimension. But we're thinking, I'm 5'10" or 6 feet or whatever, and we have our ego according to that, you see. This is the bodily concept. But actually, our ego should be in proportion to our spiritual dimension. Think of ourselves lower than the blade of grass, more tolerant than the tree. How the trees tolerate the heat and the cold and the wind and the rain, and people come and cut them and take off everything. The tree tolerates. In the same way, Lord Chaitanya tells us we should be tolerant like the tree and offer all respect to others and do not be eager to be respected by others. This is very, very important for us in Krishna consciousness as devotees, to cultivate that mood, to give respect and not to want respect from others. And we saw this manifest very wonderfully in Srila Prabhupada, how Prabhupada could be so respectful. And he never really demanded respect for himself, but he was always he would give respect. His god brothers, and especially, of course, his spiritual masters, Disappearance Day and Appearance Day. They were very important festivals for Srila Prabhupada. One time in the temple, the devotees were going to have it was supposed to be the appearance of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. And so the devotees decided, everybody's working, so we'll have the festival in the evening. But Prabhupada got upset. He said, my spiritual master, you have to honor it at the midday, not in the evening. He wouldn't let them do it in the evening. And he went into the kitchen and personally started cooking the feast for everyone. He wouldn't let them. He said, no, the formality, the custom is we do it at midday. We don't do it in the evening. Sometimes difficult, like many people working, not so many people can come. We know if we have it in the evening, more people can come. But Prabhupada was very strict about these things. We had to do it at the midday. He wanted his spiritual master honored. Doesn't matter how many people are there. You can do it again in the evening, but you have to do it in the midday. So like this, Prabhupada guiding all of us. He wants all of us cultivate this knowledge, this wisdom. Srimad Bhagavatam is not just teaching only philosophy, teaching also a lot of etiquette, Vaishnava etiquette. We were traveling with Prabhupada. We went to Mayapur from Calcutta one morning, and there was a mango grove. Prabhupada would always stop on the way to take breakfast. It's about halfway to Mayapur. There's a little mango grove there, and we pulled the vehicles in. There was a number of vehicles. There were several sannyasis, young devotees, myself, and like that. We were many young people. We were all going with Prabhupada out to Mayapur. So we packed a nice breakfast for Prabhupada, and we all had some prasadam, also take breakfast on the way. Because in the beginning, 1970s, the roads were really bad. It would take longer to get to Mayapur. So we like to stop and take breakfast. And so when Prabhupada got stopped, then we set out the table and everybody served Prabhupada his breakfast. And Prabhupada took his breakfast. And then after Prabhupada took his breakfast, then we served all the sannyasis prasadam. You know, there was a number of sannyasis there, like Brahmananda and Gargamuni and Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and some very powerful sannyasis. So we served all the sannyasis prasadam, and after they took prasadam, then we all took prasadam. So Prabhupada said this. He said this is very nice. He said, when the etiquette is followed, certainly Krishna is present. So here also this point about Lord Shiva standing up to respect Lord Brahma. This was the proper etiquette. We know in Naimisharanya forest, right? Romaharshan was there, and Lord Balaram came in the middle of the Naimisharanya forest. Everyone respected except for Romaharshan. Romaharshan's there on his Vyasasan, and he didn't respect. Now, not everybody bowed down, offered a different, but they respected in different ways, at least some kind of respect. Some stood up, some bowed down, because everyone understood Lord Balaram is the personality of Godhead. And Romaharshan, he was a disciple of Vyasadeva. He must have known who's Lord Balaram, but still he didn't respect Lord Balaram. So Lord Balaram considered the situation, and he decided that this Romaharshan is not humble. He's not qualified to sit on the seat of Vyasadeva. And he took a blade of kusha grass and he pierced the heart of Romaharshan. Because he thought also this Romaharshan, actually, his birth was not so proper either. It was a mixed birth. The father was a Kshatriya, mother was a Brahmin, like that. It wasn't so proper. So Lord Balaram decided, it's okay, we can kill him. Well, Lord Balaram considered his mission. Why did they come in the world? Paritranaya sadhunam vinaschaya chaduskritam. Right? That to give pleasure to the devotees and annihilate the miscreants. And he thought this Ramaharshan is a miscreant, should be removed. So Lord Balaram pierced the heart with the blade of grass. So then the sages were a little surprised because they said, oh, we had given him a blessing that he would live a long life because he's supposed to speak Srimad Bhagavatam to us. So Lord Balaram said, well, I can bring him back to life if you want. But they said, no, no, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You've chosen to kill him, but we gave the blessing. What about the blessing we gave him? So then Lord Balaram said, well, that blessing can go to his son. Because the son and the father are not different. So whatever the father has, that can be given to the son. So that blessing of long life went to Sutta Goswami. Sutta Goswami is the son, Ramaharsha. So Sutta Goswami got the blessing, which was given originally to his father, and Sutta Goswami took over speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. But that's a danger. You see, if we don't give respect, Lord Balaram pierced the heart. And then another thing is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita, you've got the incident where Mini Caitanya Ram Das was a great devotee of Lord Nityananda. And he was in the mood of a cowherd boy, and he used to he had a flute, the cowherd boy. Although it was Chaitanya Leela, Lord Nityananda Leela, Lord Nityananda's associates were all cowherd boys. And they all dressed like cowherd boys, and they had flutes and bells, ankle bells, and so on, They were and they had the stake. They had the cow, they could throw the stake up and do all kinds of things with them. So Mini Caitanya Ramdas was a very jovial person. If people would bow down to him, he'd climb on their back. When they bow down, he'd climb on their back, do things like that. And so he came to the home of Krishnadas Kaviraj. Now Krishnadas Kaviraj lived with his brother. And the brother of Krishnadas Kaviraj, he had full faith in Lord Chaitanya, but only a glimmer of faith in Lord Nityananda. He didn't have much faith. He didn't have faith in Lord Nityananda. He had faith in Lord Chaitanya. So Krishnadas Kaviraj had told him, this is like the philosophy of half a hen, right? The front part of the hen eats the food, the back part lays the eggs. We'll cut off the front part because the front part's eating the food. It's no good. We just need the back part. Can you just do that? Can you have the back part without the front part? No. In the same way, you cannot have Lord Chaitanya without Lord Nityananda. Like this, he was trying to tell his brother, but his brother did not. And then there was a Brahmin also. There was a Brahmana priest in their home who was like the brother. They were not respectful to Mini Caitanya Ramdas. So Mini Caitanya Ramdas could see the mood there, and he broke his flute, and he left in disgust. He said, here I see the second Ramaharsha. And that night, Krishnadas Kaviraj, in his sleep, Lord Nityananda appeared to him. And Lord Nityananda appeared to him with all of the devotees. Wonderful description of how Lord Nityananda appeared. And he was dancing, and he appeared to Krishnadas Kaviraj. And he told Krishnadas Kaviraj, get out of this home. Leave here. Go to Vrindavan. There you will attain everything. Krishnadas Kaviraj immediately got up from his bed. He did not wait for the morning. Immediately that night, in the middle of the night, he left home, never to return. And he went to Vrindavan, and he got the shelter of Rupa and Sanatan and the Goswamis. And under their association, he heard all the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he could write the Chaitanya Charitamrita. We could hear all the wonderful pastimes of Lord Chaitanya because of Krishnadas Kaviraj leaving home and going to Vrindavan. So he did the right thing. He just left immediately. He had so much faith. And so people are not respectful. They don't respect great devotees. It's not a fit place for any devotee. Better to leave that place. All right, any questions? Yes, Prabhu.
Like the impact of that mistake is also there on his son, but it's not. How is it possible, Prabhu? Because son is different, father is different now. Although the son is a like a part of father, but his karma is totally different from his father, right? How can
No, not true. Father's karma totally different from the son. There's a lot of karma involved there. Father and son. The father conceives the son. So the son does have some karma from the father. Definitely there's karma there. He's living in the home with his father. So yes, there's a lot of karma there. He's getting a lot of karma from the parents. You can't say the son is totally different from the son. They live together in the same house. The father is maintaining the son. He brings up the son. He educates the son. He feeds the son, clothes the son, takes care of the son if he gets sick and so on. Definitely, there's a lot of karma. You're going to have karma. The son will have karma like the father. Not totally, but certainly karma will be there from the father. Definitely will be there.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance lotus feet. Thank you Maharaj for wonderful nectar. So you spoke about respecting seniors. Many times when we are new, we respect seniors, but after some time become familiar, we consider them as equal to us. Sometimes we commit offenses. So what I can, rectify myself in that?
Yes, well, coming together. When Prabhupada first came to India, he brought with him a number of senior devotees from the West. Prabhupada began the movement in the USA, and he brought with him different senior devotees to come to India to begin the preaching here in India. You have a lot of very powerful personalities. They were all previously in charge of temples in the USA, and Prabhupada brought them to India with him to start the preaching. So when they came here, they were traveling in India and so on. But they couldn't get along with each other because they were all used to being in charge. They'd all been temple presidents, and now they're all working together, and one person's got to be in charge, and they couldn't get along with each other. There was a lot of arguing. They were young, also very young and passionate, and so there was often friction. So Srila Prabhupada saw that, and he instructed devotees. He said, every morning you must offer obeisances to each other. And so that is why after our Tulsi Puja in the morning, after Mangal Arti and Tulsi Puja, then we offer obeisances to all the devotees. And he said, this will nullify our offenses in dealing with each other, if we remember that. So generally, even when we meet people, even you're talking to people on the phone, we say, oh, please accept my humble obeisances, you know. So mentally or verbally, we're offering our obeisances, which is also good. Obeisances can be offered, you know, physically, mentally, or verbally. And so verbally, it's good. And in this way, we nullify any mistakes or wrongs which we may have done in dealing with other devotees. So we do like to do that every day. Yes.
Maharaj, you told that because of false ego, because of false ego, we think that we are happy. So in Bhakti also, if we practice nicely, it's told we feel we are happy. So is it because of false ego or how
That
to
we're
judge?
happy. Yes. Well, Prabhupada said only two people are happy. One is the fool and the other is the pure devotee. The pure devotees are happy, yes. We're happy. We, you know, Atma Rama, we take pleasure in the self. We're happy. We don't need anything, right? We're happy.
Devotees, those who are struggling, those who are not pure devotees, who are practicing devotees, if they are feeling happy, it means they are feeling happy because of false ego.
We have to understand the nature of the soul is Ananda, right? Our soul is Satchidananda. So we're meant to be happy. If we're not happy, it's because we're in bodily consciousness. Prabhupada had one servant and he saw and Prabhupada had to chastise him. He said, if you are morose, then you are not in Krishna consciousness. So we're supposed to be happy. We're called the happy Krishnas. People are used to seeing Hare Krishnas happy, always chanting and dancing. We're happy. We are happy. Why? Because that is the soul's nature to be happy. The body is not happy. We think about the body, we feel miserable. Oh my God, this body, horrible. You look in the mirror, oh, horrible. Yeah, this body, so much trouble. So body doesn't make you happy, but think of the soul, we feel happy. We chant Hare Krishna, we worship Krishna. Certainly, our spiritual nature is awakened. Our actual nature is to be happy. But the demonic person, they're thinking their happiness is that they're thinking they're the master, they're the controller. I am powerful, I am strong. That's making them happy. They're thinking like that. They're not understanding the temporary nature of all of these things. How long will the body be strong? How long will you be healthy? How long will you have power? Very temporary, everything in the material world. So, but the demonic person, he's not thinking, he's thinking it's all mine eternally, I'll keep it forever. And in this way, they're thinking they're happy. Their happiness is when they see others unhappy. Devotee feels, when we see other people unhappy, we feel compassion for them. And when the demon sees people happy, he feels angry. Why is he happy? Why is he so happy? We see sometimes people don't like to see devotees happy. Why these Hare Krishnas so happy? Why they're always singing, dancing? This is the Asuric Sampa. They're not happy. They don't like to see others happy. They like to see others suffering. Ah, yes, good. I like to.
Thank you.
So.
Let us express our gratitude to Maharaj for this wonderful class. And also today evening also at 7:15 we'll be having the association of Maharaj. So devotees can join in the evening class. Let's express our gratitude by chanting Hare Krishna mantra once. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
very much.
Maharaj.
Prasadam is arranged for the
Thank you,
devotees in the
Prabhu.
courtyard.
Hare
Thank you.
Maharaj.